Hi, and welcome to FrazlCast. Climb aboard the Gnome Train.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Please make sure to keep your limbs and experimental instruments inside the train at all times. And now, on with the show.
A podcast by a Blizzard fan gnome about World of Warcraft and geeky stuff. I promise you, they do talk about the World of Warcraft. They just go off the rails sometimes.
So on this episode, we're going to chat with Draven, hear about their many hobbies and careers. Who knows? We may learn secrets, like they are also a professional model.
I have been on national television before.
Do you want to spill the beans?
No, but I will say I was also on pay-per-view at least twice.
Ooh.
Wait, no, reverse that. National television twice, pay-per-view once.
Wow.
None of those were by choice, but...
That can be so many things.
It could, but all three of them would be for the exact same reason, and none of them would be for the reason you would think because of me. I was in none of those locations because of my own choice. It was because of family members or chaperoning for my brother, which is still family. But
got so many questions now.
Feel free. I may or may not answer. Questions are the easy part.
What have you been up to since episode 199 of Epic Fail Podcast?
Oh, I've been trying to get a little bit of relaxation time in. That hasn't happened. The last 2 weeks, which we haven't done the show for those 2 weeks, I've had to work both of those nights. So it ends up being that it worked out because I couldn't get out of those particular work nights. Other than that, helping family members, doing the work thing. And when I say family members, I mean multiple family members. I have my aunt who is still dealing with the amputation thing. So helping out there as I can. And then helping out with my mom, watching her dogs, all that fun stuff. Taking care of her yard work because she doesn't want to. You know, trying to be a nice person. Usually failing at it, but trying. And then, work.
Yeah.
And very little gaming. It's literally been log in, do daily, or log in, raid, log off, and do other things because I have only so much time. And you would think I'd have more time than most people because I don't sleep.
Isn't it like bureaucracy where the more time you have, the more things take time?
If I slept the normal amount, I would not have enough time for all the crap I have to deal with. Oh, you don't sleep. Here's some extra stuff. But I would like to try to sleep.
Yeah.
Nah, you don't need that.
Like, my schedule's changing that in 2 weeks I'll have more time on Sundays. But I know Sundays are still going to be crazy no matter what.
Yeah, my Sundays now are officially crazy again. I got accepted to 2 separate D&D groups, both of which are on Sunday, and they're literally back to back. I've only got to actually playing one of them today, but they just didn't get around to introducing my other character.
So how do you keep it straight, like going between like I am the gnome in this one, I'm the dwarf in this one?
Well, that'd be real easy because I wouldn't have to worry about the gnome part, but the one character is the wizard that I've had in my head for so long, it doesn't matter. Like they're just a separate entity in my head at this point. So that makes it real simple. And then I just have to remember to take notes. So that way I know like names and locations. Keep that separate. As for the other one, you would love this character so far because I am playing a complete spaz. I'm not kidding when I say they met me. They took me out into the woods. They said the word scout and I skipped off into the woods. And
that sounds so much like me.
They just completely like, okay. In terms of D&D, they think I'm playing a tiefling, which if you want to translate it to WoW, it's kind of Draenei-ish, but not from another planet. They're just kind of demonish. But yeah. They look kind of like the Draenei with the horns and stuff and tails. They think that's what I'm playing. I'm not playing a tiefling on that one, but that's what they've seen. And they've seen one aspect of what I can do. Like I asked the DM for a specific item and he said, yes, I can change what my cloak looks like at will. And I can do that to my entire body.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm not giving them any of that information yet. It's just
Make them guess.
make them guess. They're not going to know for a long time, hopefully.
Nice.
Yeah, I had all kinds of fun with it. That particular character is flirting with everything that moves.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, kind of, yeah. Because that particular appearance / race has a tail, I'm like caressing people's cheeks with the tail and just complete overt flirting. And if I get shot down, I'm like, there's always the next time I can ask later. They were not ready.
That sounds so much like you.
Yeah. I mean, not the overly flirting part, because I don't, but getting the reaction of they were not ready, yeah, that's kind of me.
Yes, exactly. And one thing that is you, when you have time, is you like to game a lot.
When I have time.
Yes. So how did you get into gaming?
Honestly, the very first game I can remember, outside of Nintendo and stuff like that, like I know when I was younger, there was a Nintendo, no Genesis, no Super Nintendo or anything like that. It was just the Nintendo and then the PS2, maybe the PS1, I don't remember. Outside of those, if you're going to talk computers, the first game I remember seeing on a computer was the original Diablo.
Okay.
My teacher was actually playing it at lunchtime, and I was one of the few students who didn't go to my lunch. I went and hung out in that classroom because they listened to music that I liked, so I just went there instead. They played Diablo, and I was like, ooh, I like this game. And then I ended up eventually got a computer, which took forever. Played Diablo 1, got StarCraft, played that. Diablo 2 came out. That was the first game that I know for a fact that I played for at least 12 hours straight. No bathroom break, no food break, no nothing. It was 12 hours straight. At least 12 hours. Kind of playing games when I can since.
So from there, you got into Blizzard through Diablo.
Technically, yeah.
So then how did that go into World of Warcraft?
Honestly, it didn't. Like, the Diablo and StarCraft are games that I could, as long as I wasn't playing against other people, I would play. StarCraft, I don't play against other people because I'm terrible at it. Against a computer, fine. But against other people, no. Diablo, the original Diablo, you could play co-op, and you would go through and you go in and do that stuff. It was kind of like how it is now, but not really. I kind of fell off most computer games for a while, just lack of computer, lack of time kind of thing. And then a game came out called City of Heroes.
Oh, yes.
And I lost many days and hours to that game. And it's back now, so I'm playing it on and off when I have a chance. But I lost a lot of time, and some coworkers, when I worked at the other theater that I used to work at, were like, hey, we're playing WoW. You should play WoW. And I was like, I'm not going to play WoW. You have to pay money every month for that. That seems stupid. I bought this game. I can play it for free.
Yeah.
Eventually, I did buy WoW. And I rolled an orc, because they were Horde, on the wrong server. So here's my epic fail moment. I managed to find the Barons as a level 1 or maybe even a level 2. That didn't go well. Because I crossed the border and all of a sudden, all these things, I'm dead. And I couldn't get back. Like, the corpse run was so far, I couldn't remember how I got there, any of it. And I was ready to give up. And then I found out the next day I was on the wrong server. So I believe my undead, at the time, undead mage was my next character. And I rolled it on the actual server and leveled it up. Maybe it was the warlock, I don't remember. It was undead either way. And went through and got on the right server, got into that guild that they were in, which I don't remember the name of. I didn't really play with anyone because my play times were way different than everyone else's. And then eventually I had some other friends from other places, and they were like, oh, I'm on this server. So I went to that server, and I was just leveling faster than they were. So I'd roll a new character, get to the same level, roll a new character, same over and over until I get to my paladin, which I leveled as Rhett in Burning Crusade. Don't do that. This is the actual rotation because you run out of mana. Seal, whatever the seal was, I forget what it was called. Then you cast Judgment, then you cast Seal again, and now you're out of mana, so you're auto-attacking. That was your entire rotation because you didn't have mana for anything else. And then you just do that, you take a drink, keep doing that, and it was tedious at best until they fixed it and you got mana. And then once you get to level 70, the great buffing happened, which was the decimal point misplacement of regen. I couldn't die, so everyone wanted me in their group. I was like, yes. And then they fixed it, and then no one wanted me again, and I was sad.
So hopefully when the Burning Crusade servers come around, that they are somewhere in between those.
No, it's probably going to be the terrible leveling experience of Rhett. Like, Rhett was not a spec you were supposed to level, and you probably weren't even supposed to play it. But that's what ever since I made it, that was my main, was a Rhett Paladin.
I'm trying to think of what mine, I think I was Prot Paladin. Now this is BFA.
Yeah.
But I think
I have spec'd Prot and I have spec'd Holy before. I don't like healing, although I did have fun in Wrath in healing spec because I got to tank Oculus, I got to tank Anax, I got to tank Sartharian. I didn't get to tank 3D Sartharian, but we did 2D, I think, a couple times with me as a Holy tank. Yes, I was tanking it as the healer.
nice.
That was entertaining for me.
So what would you say is your playstyle now in WoW?
Like hardcore casual kind of thing?
Yeah.
I would say my playstyle as I'm playing is hardcore, but overall casual. I try to min-max my character. Like, even knowing I'm not going to get full best in slot, I try to min-max as much as I can. Even to the detriment of, now I can't trade this item because my Benthic 825 gloves are better than the 830s that I just got. So I can't trade the 830s because or 430, sorry. I can't trade them because they're a higher item level, even though this is better. And the tank was like, I really want those gloves. I was like, I can't trade them. They're higher item level. And he got upset. He's like, well, you could have equipped those 430s BOEs. I was like, yeah, but I could sell those. Maybe.
And I mean, for loot, no one has to trade stuff. I think, to me, trade's a generosity thing, but you don't have to do anything.
We don't have to in my raid team. It's encouraged if you can. Like, if you're not, like, in my case, I'm not going to use those pair of gloves. I would be more than happy to trade them because they're a nice upgrade for him because the perfect stats for him and everything. But I can't.
Now, are you a hoarder? Do we need to have an intervention on you?
I wouldn't call myself a hoarder. I would say I'm an option giver. I only currently have 5 chest pieces, 6 helms, 4 shoulders, 12 trinkets, 3 pairs of legs, 2 gloves, that kind of thing. Just in case the balance of stats alters a bit, I have my options that it works.
So you would probably...
I would probably be considered a hoarder, yeah. Those are just in my bags. That's not including void storage and the bank.
Oh, that is awesome.
My paladin currently is home of all but 2 legendaries possible for him. Now, this is excluding the Legion legendary system. I have all the paladin ones. But prior to Legion, with the single drop like Shadowmourne and all that, I don't have the fangs, the daggers on my paladin because you can't get them. I don't have the caster staff from Firelands on the paladin because you can't get it. But all the other ones that the paladin can get, the paladin has.
And funny enough, I just realized this is episode 120, so we're max level.
Yeah, max level. I only have 3 of those. Normally by this point I would have more, but I have the reason that I was leveling so many, so I don't feel the need to level all of them.
And Raz says 1 more set of legs and you would be an octopus.
Note to self. Get 2 more pairs of legs.
So what would you say is the best thing that's happened to you since you started video games or WoW?
The journey to get it was not the best thing, but the actual drop and never having to go do that thing again, the big love rocket.
Oh, yeah. Wait, it exists?
It exists, believe it or not.
Oh.
I have an ex that has claimed to have seen it drop 4 times.
Wow.
Before I did at all. It took me, that I can confirm, this number, the actual number is probably higher, but confirmable, 1,314 attempts to get it.
I'm with Raz in chat. We don't believe you. I think you'll need to show us your love rockets.
I mean, I don't think it's that kind of a podcast, but...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Moving on. So, Epic Fail Podcast is a podcast that's on hiatus, and it just hit 199, which was a blast. Thank you for having me on.
Always happy to have you on.
And I've got a few questions about Epic Fail Podcast.
Oh, God. Okay.
So, how did you get into podcasting?
Honestly, I just wanted to talk to people about WoW outside of raid time. And that was the best way that I could think of, because you set aside specific time and you literally get to talk about the game that you're playing. You don't have to be playing it. Like, outside of the raid, I didn't really talk to most of the raid team because schedules are weird. Like, I play really late at night when I play outside of raid. Like, that's my early time. Or I play early in the day before work. So I didn't have the access to them then either. So I just wanted to talk about the game. I was like, we should probably do a podcast type thing. My original idea was strat videos. So I had a bunch of us back in Warlords, High Mall. We were recording and they were sending me their video. But because of various reasons and video quality, it never panned out. I could hear them bad-mouthing people in the raid. And I was like, I don't disagree. But I don't want to put that out there, and I didn't want to mute the video entirely because it would just sound weird. So, the strat video thing didn't work out, and we weren't progressing fast enough, honestly, to do the strat video idea. But it did turn into, maybe we can get a couple people together and we can just talk about it, and, we can talk about strats and, goof off and stuff like that. Like, we were originally pure WoW, and then the WoW news during Warlords kind of dried up, so we're like, we're just going to talk about all of them, because why not?
Yeah.
And we kind of stayed that way. We focused more on WoW because, not everyone played games. All the other ones, like, nope. I was the only one who played StarCraft. I was the only one that really played Heroes. Diablo was a hit and miss for some of us. So it was just, we focused more on WoW, but we, Hearthstone was another one that came and went depending on who was there. But yeah, that's kind of how I did it. We just want to talk about it. Like, okay, we'll just throw it out there and it'll be fun. No one's going to listen, but it'll be fine.
And quite a few people have listened. I mean, it's during 199, we had Ro show up in the chat room.
Ro was our first guest on episode 3. He just, I was like, you probably are busy, but if you want to show up, it'll be fun. He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. It'll be great. I was like, oh, Ro, you're awesome. But yeah, I've always been a fan of Ro.
Me too.
I haven't been able to keep up on every single show he's done, but before, I'll go back just to be safe. Episode 100 of Epic Fail. I had listened to every rolling restart there ever was. Like the week that it happened, I was always listening to it, and that's how I found a bunch of other podcasts. And I owe so much to Ro. I'll never be able to pay him back.
Yeah.
Maybe next time I get to eventually go to BlizzCon, I'll just like, here's a noogie.
And you realize that we're not too far from Ro.
I know he's in the same general area, but I don't know exactly where.
Okay, maybe you'll need to slide into his DMs and say, hey, Ro.
Yeah, I'm always weird about sliding into DMs because that just seems like dirty.
Maybe I should have redone that phrasing.
Yeah, it's fine.
So, just like redoing phrasing, what is one thing that you would do differently if you were to start over again with the Epic Fail podcast?
Probably name it something else. I get that. I mean, don't get me wrong. The fact that it was named that gave so much leeway for so much stupid ideas, but it probably turned a lot of people away. And I found out after we started that there was something else called the Epic Fail podcast. I went looking, I didn't see it, and I was amazed that there wasn't one. So I was like, oh, I'm totally doing that. And then someone was like, yeah, there's this other one. and it's like sports.
Oh,
I was like, oh, I didn't see it. So apparently my searches and their searches were a little different.
so that was an epic fail.
Yeah, first epic fail was the name. But I probably would have named it something different. Something silly, of course, but if I was going to do it seriously, I probably would have been like, you might want to name it something else. I know the reason behind it and all the goofiness since then that you got away with just because of that, but the name probably didn't help.
I can absolutely relate. I'm talking about on the Low Screen Podcast that I would have made this show differently, but the name's given me freedom to do some things, and it's kind of, I can change the format at will. So like next week we could be like a Final Fantasy 14 podcast or we could become a City of Heroes podcast. So it gives a lot of room for stuff.
Yeah. I would never admit which ones they were, but there were screw ups that were intentional and there were screw ups that weren't intentional. Sometimes people knew, sometimes they didn't. But like some of the times, like I'm pretty well known for forgetting to unmute myself. Some of those were on purpose, but most of the time, no, not really. They were genuine whoops.
Like I liked it when you got into the chat here, it was picking the wrong mic, and it was almost like, hey, this is just like an episode of Epic Fail.
That wasn't a me thing. That was a program, though. It just picked the wrong mic.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. But it felt like home. Like,
oh.
and I'm looking at you right now on the video, and I feel like we are at home.
I don't know if I should be flattered or confused, because I'm kind of both.
What would you say is the best thing that's happened to you since you started the Epic Fail podcast?
I would say I got to go to BlizzCon after we started. I would say that's probably one of the better things. I may or may not have got to meet one of my raid team. Well, I know I met a couple of raid teams at the members at the time, but there's one person in particular who never talks. It's an ongoing joke that they work at Blizzard because they never talk. And we just randomly go through names. Like one time we were like, yeah, this is Chris Messon. It's fine. Eventually we settled on Mumper, and I don't know if they still work at Blizzard at this point or not, but that's who we just kept going with it. There's a chance I know exactly who the person is, but I can't say because I promised I wouldn't. Whether it's true or not, I don't know. But
secrets.
Yeah, I promised if what I was told or implied at heavily is true, then I can't say. There's always a chance that they were just, goofing.
So when you do the tell-all book at the end of your career, be like, here's all the secrets and stuff.
No one's going to read that.
I will.
Here's a tell of every single secret. And it's just going to be one page. I can't tell you it's a secret.
That would be a troll.
Yeah, that'd be something I would do. It'll be like 400 pages, but only one of them has words. And it's going to be like, I can't really tell you it's a secret.
Yeah. Oh, and put it in invisible ink, so they have to look for it.
Well, it'll be blacklight ink. It'll show up only under blacklight.
Oh, that scares me. So many reasons why,
yeah.
but
yeah.
What is one bit of advice you'd give to someone wanting to go into podcasting, or even someone who's still wet behind the ears?
Well, I'll start with the wet behind the ears part. Just keep going. Honestly, if you watch Epic Fail at all, you realize we didn't get any better. Well, we got a little better at hiding things and talking. But in terms of like quality programming, it never really changed. It was always just kind of goofing off, which is kind of what we were going for that show anyway.
Yeah.
Just keep going. You'll get better. You'll get more comfortable with the mic. I was the person who didn't want to be on camera because, why would I? But just, if you want to get into podcasting, just do it. Figure out what you want to do. Are you going to copy someone? You might want to change a couple things. Don't copy someone directly. I know everyone's like, imitation, flattery, blah, blah. I'm like, no, imitation is just... I always said Epic Fail is kind of like a mixture between CTR and Lagging Balls, except not as good and not as funny, and PG-13.
Oh.
Exactly. For the most part, PG-13. There's a few words that got by because, I didn't have the buttons at the time, but...
Yeah.
Just have fun with it. You can be super serious in the show and all that, but as long as you're enjoying it and having fun, that's the most important thing. Don't worry about numbers. They either will be there or they won't, and you decide whether you want to keep going. Just don't base it purely on numbers. Are you having fun? That is the most important thing. If you only get, let's say, 12 people listening ever, think of it in terms of real life. 12 people in front of you, like if you're up on a stage and you're in front of a classroom and there's only 12 people in the class, that seems different than when you're on a podcast. You're like, 12 people, that's nothing. I see all the numbers of these other ones. I was like, yeah, but so you're in front of 12 people.
Yeah.
They're taking the time to listen to you. They're probably listening to those other people too, admittedly, but they're listening to you too. So don't worry too much about numbers.
And you never know, you may meet so many friends. Like right now in chat, I've got some friends here and like people that are dear to me that I only met through podcasting. And I'm talking to somebody that's dear to me that I met through podcasting. Yeah, the person right behind you. Yeah.
That didn't work. That doesn't work when you're not a disembodied head.
Yeah.
But
speaking of rooms, it's interesting to talk about rooms of people, because you do something. Now, you've also been a dungeon master, and you do fun voices.
I would say barely a dungeon master. I tried once.
So would you say a dungeon curator?
I would say dungeon master for D&D successfully in the scope of combat mechanics. In terms of making it so it actually worked, like narratively, probably not in descriptions, probably not voices. Every now and then I have a voice that I can do that I'll throw out, but I'm not really all that great with too many voices.
I know the ones that you do. Like I saw one of your D&D streams, and you were like,
the goblin. Yeah, I can do. I mean, it's not a WoW goblin, but it's kind of what I think of when I hear goblin outside of WoW. So I'm like, yeah, it would be kind of a high pitch.
It created a picture in my mind when I saw it. So it was, or heard it, not saw it.
Yeah, well, I knew what you meant.
So how did you get into Dungeons and Dragons?
Honestly, I'm going to blame former co-host Scarlett on that. She kept like, you need to watch Critical Role. You need to watch Critical Role. I'm like, I don't want to watch Critical Role. It's Dungeons and Dragons. I don't care. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, YouTube, Critical Role, Campaign 1. This is still when it was only Campaign 1. And I found the entire playlist. Turn on playlist, play. Straight through all of it. They run about 4 hours each. At that point, there was 113 episodes.
Wow.
It took me the better part of 3 months, I think, to get through them all. Like, I binged the crap out of it. It was, if I was sitting at my computer, no matter what else I was doing, it was on. Sometimes I would tab out and rewind it so I'd see something, but it was always on. I was always listening, and I could always have the pictures in my head. So that's where it came from. And I'm still watching Critical Role, not right this second, but every week, Thursday night, 10 o'clock.
I mean, I could see you watching right now, having it in one window, and then you have us in the other window.
I mean, if it was Thursday, I totally would be. But, and I'd be like, what? You asked me a question, what? So yeah. I was too busy watching this guy do something cool, what?
So then from that, you started playing Dungeons and Dragons?
I started looking to play. Strangely enough, I had a Dungeons and Dragons character already in my head without knowing it. The one wizard that I keep trying to play that seems to be cursed because I can never find a game that'll either play him or those games just die. It's the tiefling. It's a red tiefling, red-skinned, Draenei looking thing, small horns and all that. And he's a wizard and he does all the magic stuff. And I know exactly who he is, what he wants to do, all that. I have no problem. I know what he sounds like. I can't do that voice. If you know who Michael Wincott is, he's top dollar in The Crow. He is the sheriff's cousin in Prince of Thieves, the Kevin Costner Robin Hood. He's been in Strange Days. He's in all kinds of things. Just look up Michael Wincott over on YouTube. That's what he sounds like. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that voice. So that was the first character I ever made, even without knowing. And then I joined a D&D game. Well, I kind of like got a couple of people together and we started talking and trying to make one. And that game fell apart, but I got to play him a little bit. and people seem to like him. So I kept trying to play him, and I get my next chance next week to play him again.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I take it right now you're not a DM.
No, one thing I learned very quickly was I am not experienced enough to be a DM. I know the combat rules and I know the rules and stuff like that. It's the descriptions and setting and world and stuff like that. So I am not ready to be a DM yet. That being said, I am building a world.
Ooh.
Slowly. It's coming together. I 100% stole Mordor. I 100% stole the Wall from Game of Thrones. But a lot of other things are similar sometimes, but definitely different.
Is that the same world that, because I saw a few of your D&D streams you did?
Different. Completely different.
Okay.
That one was literally, I just want a road map, so I went and found something online that created it randomly. Okay, that one looks good. And then, okay, I need a town. Went to a place, created it. Okay, that looks good. And then in terms of the cave, which is where most of the stuff took place, was somewhere online, created randomly. Okay, that one looks good. And I just blew it up. The one thing that was 100% original and mine was the night Turarch joined, which I think was episode 2 or game session 2, however you want to look at it, where she arrived via meteor.
Ooh.
That was 100% my idea.
So you could really say that Turarch fell from the sky.
I am not going to make that terrible pickup line, but yes, kind of.
Okay, I'm going to move on from that. So what would you say is your biggest epic fail in D&D?
Trying to DM when I'm not ready.
I can hear that. I mean, just like thinking you're ready.
I knew I wasn't ready, but I thought I could try to do a one-shot and it'd be okay. And then I realized no matter how much I prepped, I was not ready. I know 100% I was not critical role level. Like, they're voice actors. They have voices that they can do and all that. And I was like, I want to do that. I can't do that many voices. Like, I can pretend to be a goblin. I can kind of almost pretend to do dwarf. Depending on what you consider a gnome accent, I can do a gnome high-pitched kind of voice. But
Oh, yay!
whoa! I can talk like I can do the Helium voice too.
Yay!
Whoa.
A fellow gnome!
But oh, look, fellow energy. I'm a fellow gnome now.
So, what is one of your favorite stories in D&D?
That I have personally experienced, or that I have witnessed?
Yeah. Like a story of something that's happened to you or witnessed. I mean, just like something that, because D&D is all about the story. It's all about the interesting experiences.
For most people, a lot of people, there are some people that are just like, I just want to go and kill stuff. And I'm like, that's boring. I don't mind combat. Combat is fun, but without the story to go along with it, it's just kind of silly. Something in one of the games I've personally been involved in, I would say would be probably the first game that I played at all, where I was playing the wizard, and I just completely, to the other group, everyone else, they just weren't expecting what I did. There's a spell called Prestidigitation, which is generally used as a cleaning up spell. You can literally oh, I'm dirty, Prestidigitation, I'm clean again. Or I'm dry again, or whatever. I actually read the spell and what it can do. So, the one person was all paranoid about being attacked because we just got out of combat and we were at the end for the night. I bit my finger to draw blood. Now, mind you, I'm a demon-looking thing doing this. I'm like, "Nyeh," and I'm just, I literally said, I'm just going to draw random symbols on the door in my own blood. It doesn't matter what it says. I don't care. It's just, I'm just literally drawing on the door in my own blood. And then I'm going to press my hand against it and make it glow. And then I'm just going to clean it off. And I said, okay, your door is protected. No one can cross this door without your permission now. And that particular person played their character as if they had no idea if that was true or not, but they believed me. And there you go. And everyone after the game was like, that was amazing. I've never thought of that.
Could they cross it?
Yeah, I did nothing to it. I literally drew in my own blood, made it glow, and then cleaned it off.
Oh wow, that's great.
There was no actual "you cannot pass." That wasn't there. The other thing, I didn't realize I did it until I watched it later, or I rewatched it later. I should say. There's a thing called thaumaturgy, which means you can make whispers everywhere and people hear things and all that, and slam open windows and doors and stuff. Well, I did the voice thing, and we went to this place, and I just the all over and making everyone like, holy crap. I didn't realize I stole that off of Critical Role until I went back, because it was like a month later after that, so I didn't remember that particular moment. I was like, oh, I stole that. I thought it was original at the time, though.
Yeah.
The group loved it. So I was like, I just randomly did things.
You know, that fits so much with your character.
With me, yeah.
Yeah.
Most of my characters tend to be a little quiet, especially at first, mainly because I tend to play with complete strangers. So I'm learning how they play while I'm quiet. So my character is quiet too, because he's learning the people. That's one thing I will say I do probably too often in the characters. I'm like, yeah, he starts off a bit quiet because he's taking people in. Which is why this rogue that I made is just completely way different. Like, I'm not kidding. He literally skipped into the forest, and then whenever he did what he was going to do, he skipped back out.
I got to bring up, because there's a story that you mentioned on one of the Epic podcast about the City of Heroes, that you're playing Slenderman.
Oh, yes.
You look like Slenderman. You're completely mute and all that, and you're just like, you said people are terrified of your character.
He is the tallest character you can be, and he's thin, obviously, because Slenderman. They have an option where you can be like a solid color. So my skin color is solid white. It's like bright. And he's wearing a suit, because that's what Slenderman does.
Yeah.
He can teleport. That's the one thing I gave him, like, weird. But it was for a reason. I teleport behind trees and just stand there and then kind of pop out a little bit. And then when the character turns around, I might teleport closer or behind them. Character never speaks.
I love that.
I'm a terrible human being, I know, but
you know, I think you would make a great actor in a movie, or you would.
I'm not an actor. I would be like, if someone needed an idea, maybe, but in terms of doing it myself, probably not.
Okay, so I want to go to the movie theater and see you in the
No,
movie,
I would probably be like assistant 2 at best.
Okay. Well, speaking of movie theaters, it's interesting that I bring that up and all that.
I know, it's weird.
I've got a listener and friend, Rajuris, and I'm glad Rajuris is in the chat, but they would love to hear about this next fact. So one thing people might not know about you is that you work at a movie theater.
That is one of the things I do right now, yeah.
So how did you get started working there, and how long have you been on the job?
This is actually the second movie theater I've ever worked in. This particular one, I've only been there for about 3 or 4 months, like the summers. I knew the people who owned the place and worked there, so I kind of got in fairly easy, because they were like, oh, you worked at this other one. You're hired. You already know what you're doing.
Nice.
Yeah. In terms of the other one, the job prior to that, which I will not name because it is a fast food chain that I hate, I could not stand it anymore. So I was like, I need something else. And I went to a movie theater and very quickly became assistant manager, very quickly became not the main assistant, but if I was there, I was pretty much the one in charge, unless my boss was there. Other than that, he was in charge. And I've always taken you guys can do what you want, as long as everything gets done timely. Don't take 5 hours to wipe this one counter down.
Yeah.
But if you want to goof off, fine. If you have a customer, don't be goofing off. If everything's not done, don't be goofing off. Just make sure everything's done. No problem. I'm fairly laid back. I mean, I don't see the reason to get all tight about things.
Yeah, it just has to get done. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as it's done timely, no one gets in trouble. Don't do anything stupid. Like the one time I nearly electrocuted myself to death.
Oh, can you tell?
So neon signs, there's this little wire cord holding them up.
Uh-huh.
Don't touch that.
Oh.
Mind you, I did it on accident.
Yeah.
But I touched it with my pinky finger.
Ow.
And then I had the exit hole, I'm going to call it a hole, but it was a burn, in my pointer finger. The movie theater was on a separate circuit. That particular movie theater was in a mall. We're on a completely separate circuit, so nothing should affect anything else outside of the movie theater. Not only did the lights dim in the movie theater, the lights dimmed in the mall itself. Apparently, I was about 1.5 to 2 seconds away from electrocuting myself to death.
Oh, wow.
I could not stop laughing. I thought, A, that fact was hysterical. But the fact that, I was electrocuted, one of the side effects is possible hysterical laughter. And so I was laughing for a good while, and finally, it died off and all that, but I had to get back to work. But I had a nurse friend who was like, yeah, it sounds like you had about 1 to 2 seconds left before you killed yourself from it.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I'm glad that you're here.
Well, I mean, that's nothing. I've actually technically died twice.
Wow.
Yeah, someone's like, you only die once. I was like, yeah, been there, done that twice. I didn't even get a free shirt out of it, dang it.
You're like a cat.
I'm something. I don't know what I am.
And I'm with Ali. That's what we call a bad activity.
Well, I mean, it's not something I would recommend doing more than once.
I've put my hand on the heating element on a RV. I was 9, and it said "Don't touch," and I pressed it. And I thought that was bad.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like fun either.
But yeah, that would not have. I didn't laugh either. And
no, I wouldn't have laughed either. That sounds pretty horrible. I'm not a fan of heat.
But what you went through sounds even worse.
Honestly, I didn't. It didn't even, other than the hysterical laughter, it didn't faze me.
Wow.
I thought it was hysterical. I mean, one, a sign almost killed me. That's kind of funny. An inanimate object that didn't move almost killed me. Think about it. That's funny. But then it's me involved. And that just makes it even funnier to me. Because I've had,
And Capo has to say in chat, and on the hour of his third death, epic fail returns. There's a whisper inside of WoW about a third death. So
I'm not going to say that it's going to take a death for it. At this point, I think number 3 would be pushing my luck.
Yeah, and we want you here.
Well, everyone's allowed their faulty opinions.
So what is one thing people don't realize about working at a movie theater, other than shocking yourself on neon signs?
Well, luckily the one I work at now doesn't have those neon signs. Technology has advanced since then. Honestly, it's kind of boring. Your work is literally while the movies are getting ready to start, and then it dies until they let out, and you have to go clean up after people because most people are too much of a... No offense, too many people are lazy bums and won't clean up after themselves.
Yeah, I've walked out of a lot of movie theaters, and it's just like, can you at least pick up...
You know that's your cup. You know the trash can is on your way out.
Yeah.
Why not? But, sometimes people forget. That's forgivable. But whenever people come out and say, yeah, we left you some fun times, I'm like, thanks. You're the reason why the ticket prices are so high. And
people say that?
Oh, not often, but sometimes, yeah, you get some really rude people.
Wow.
People all usually tend to think that you've seen every movie that ever existed, including the ones that are playing, and I honestly haven't watched the movie in the movie theater. The last one I saw was Endgame. I haven't seen a single one all the way through since. Because I don't care.
Yeah. And I can see you being desensitized to movies, or movies aren't out that you're interested in.
Yeah, you work in a movie theater long enough, you just don't want to see them anymore. Or even if you do I really want to go into work on my day that I don't have to go into work? So there's that. But
so even though you're not a fan of movies right now,
I'm a fan of movies. I'm not a fan of the movies that are coming out. Here's a difference.
Okay, I'm with you because a lot of the movies right now are.
Yeah, pretty much.
But you love music. I
love good music.
Yes. I love seeing the pre-show music for Epic Fail Podcast because there's so much joy. You're always excited to make this playlist, always excited to you put so much into that.
Sometimes there are some shows that I just literally open Pandora and just let it play. But a lot of times, I would cultivate which ones we're playing. Sometimes I'd have to cut out songs because it was like, okay, I don't really have 3 hours for pre-show music. So
Yeah. You got to cut that one out. Yeah.
yeah, so I got to cut that down a little bit.
So what is your favorite band?
No question. It's a band called The Birthday Massacre, and I can prove they're my favorite band because there's a tattoo of the singer.
That's okay.
That's the band logo and the singer's signature.
I wondered what that tattoo, I've seen that. Okay. That is awesome.
This is also the only tattoo that has ever actually hurt.
The plaid, right?
Yeah, because they have to go over the same area over and over for the different shades of the same color.
Oh,
It didn't hurt that bad, but it hurt. All the rest of the other 10 that I have, because I have 11, none of them hurt
oh, so your tattoos go up to 11.
so far.
Okay, so far.
Yeah, 12 and 13 and 14 I have planned. Whether when I get them is another story. Well, 12, 13, 14, and 15, I should say. I have the next 4, at least, ideas.
So what would you say is your favorite song?
That will vary heavily based on whatever mood I'm in at the time. Like, if you want me to pick one, it's impossible. Most of the time, it'll be something from The Birthday Massacre. There will be other times where it's a band called Pale Waves or a band called Nightclub, Within Temptation, Genitorturers. There's so much music out there, I couldn't pick a song all the time. It would be whatever mood I'm in at the time, then I would have a favorite song for that particular mood.
Yeah, like I love I love Hamster Dance, but you can't listen to it all the time.
No, that's more of a 30 seconds every 3 months at best.
Or maybe every like 5 hours for me.
And, whatever. But I've honestly, I've had some songs on. It was the same song on repeat for 2 days straight. Just that one song. It was the perfect song for the mood I was in at the time. And then there are times where I listen to a song once and I love it, but I don't listen again for like a year. I'm a fan of music. If I put all of my CDs on a computer, yes, I still have CDs. Those are those disc things that music used to come in after cassettes and before they went digital. For people who don't know. If I put all of them together on the computer, I could put it on 24/7. No random, no repeat, anything. And I would have, I guarantee you, over 8 months of non-stop music and never go back to the start.
Wow. That is incredible.
I have a lot of music. Like, whenever I just mentioned the Critical Role thing a little earlier, that was the first time I didn't have music on in ages. Like, if I'm sitting doing nothing, music is playing. If I'm playing a game, music is playing. If I'm doing yard work, music is playing.
I hear that. For me, I do music and podcasts.
Yeah, I turn it off if I'm like recording something. But
no, I've been hearing right now. I've been hearing. I've been hearing all that all evening.
Oh well, whatever floats your boat.
That, or maybe it's just the voice in my head.
Yeah, I have those too. Most of them ignore me, but
Yeah, and Azeroth is there too.
Yeah, well, that's a different voice.
Yeah.
Praise to Azeroth.
Yes. Have I ever told you about our Lord and Savior N'Zoth?
Oh, I have so many stories. I could tell you about people coming in the door about, hey, do you have a moment to talk about? I have so many stories I could tell you about that, and it's just none of them end nice for those poor people.
Oh. I couldn't believe it with you.
I will say my favorite one ever was when they showed up when I was on my way to a Halloween concert. They turned around and left.
Wow.
Yeah, and they haven't been back since.
I have to say, though, I'm glad that you showed up at my door today. It was good. So, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Well, generally, the easiest place to find me is over on Twitter or in Discord. Discord. Got that southern draw thing kicking in. I've never even been down there. Twitter, Discord, at Draven Dresden. As long as you're polite, I'll have a conversation with people even if I don't agree with you. It's when you turn rude, I'm like, man, I don't really want to deal with you anymore.
I've had a lot of good DMs with you, so it's...
Well, I mean, sure.
You always think we're crazy, but I mean, it's true.
No, I know I'm crazy. I think other people are crazy when they're like, oh, I like talking to you. I'm like, really? Why? I make bad jokes.
So Capo said in chat, this is funny. So they got the people to leave them alone by sharpening a sword in front of them in their living room.
I can't say I've done that. I did do the Are You the Virgin delivery service that I ordered from? I have done that.
And I think with that, it's time for one final thing, because it would not be a Draven episode without asking you any last words. And I don't mean like that, but any last words for the show.
Last words for the show will be, people always hate it when sentences don't end the way they potato.
Activating customized Orchestrate transporter.
Well, I am back in my home of Ironforge until we one day reclaim Gnomergon. So I'm recording this on Thursday that I normally record FrazlCast on. So I got a busy weekend and I want to make sure that I can ensure that the Monday release schedule was maintained. So things may happen between recording and live, but here is the information that is current as of recording time. Let's get to our first section.
Let's look at what has been happening in the community.
Awesome idea. Let's do that. So can you feel it? Can you feel that rush of excitement and that hype? Classic is only a few weeks away. So people have reserved their names, they're finalizing their server choices, and I got some information on a few of them. So Convert to Raid is joining forces with many communities like AIE, Lagging Balls, The Starting Zone, World of Warcraft, just to name a few. So Pago US is the PvE realm that has been chosen, and Whitemane is the PvE realm that has been chosen so far. There will be a guild on each faction for both servers. PvP in Classic requires that you choose which faction you'll be for that server, so choose wisely. Pat is going Horde, and Turrets is going Alliance, so I wrote a tune there, but I don't know how soon I'll be leveling it. I'll unveil the name once I start playing it. For now though, it's a Human Paladin, so Pat is going down! And the guild name itself won't be announced until the guild charter is signed. But keep an eye on the podcast involved, and I plan to mention it here once the news arises as well, and I'm also going to announce it in the DPS and Sparkspans Discord. I've got a link to the Convert to Raid Discord, as it's a cool guild, it's my main WoW guild, and the crew is keeping up-to-date information on the Classic servers there in Classic chat. Pat said that they reserve the right to change up the realm if needed for PvP. They want to make sure that the server we're on is going to be the best experience for the community. This show is part of the Dragon-powered Studio Network, and it is a multi-region group of podcasts, which means we've got some in the US and some in the EU. There's a pinned post in the DPS Discord and Blizzard Game Chat where you can find everyone who has stated their character, their faction, and what server they are on for what region they're in. So here's where it stands right now. For US servers, Frazley on the Alliance and Whitemane PvP and Alliance Pago PvE. Michael on Alliance Pago PvE. And for EU, we have Tom, Alliance Zandalar Tribe, RP PvP. Amanda, Alliance Zandalar Tribe, RP PvP. Marty is Horde, Zandalar Tribe, RP PvP. And Sil, Horde, Zandalar Tribe, RP PvP. My main for Classic for right now is a gnome mage named Denzo on Pago US PvE realm. So let us know where you are, what you picked. I've got a link in the show notes to the Dragon Powered Studio Discord. And there are many other communities as well that are going to Classic. So Wild Challenges, who is an awesome group, will be on the RP PvP realm, Bloodsteel Buccaneers, and I've got a link in the show notes to their Discord. And from what I understand, I saw a message by Lita that they have a guild for both factions ready to and lined up. And I see random reports on a site called Avoid Streamers that aims to show where streamers are. The flip side is this site helps you to see where your favorite streamers are. So quite a few are unfairly in, it seems. And they are on both factions. And there are a few on Shazra and Pago as well. And with all of this, WoW has launched 2 new Classic realms after the initial list. So we have Gehenna's PvP for EU and Stalag PvP for US. And Blizzard 1 let people know that Herod and Whitemane realms had a very high population. They said that realms that show as full have a chance for severe queues at release. Herod, from what I am reading in the Discord, is where people from the Nostalgia's community are going. So I will do my best to keep you updated on the realms communities that I see, or the ones that make news. Exciting times are coming, even for someone like me who loves current WoW, and is excited to play in Classic as well. One player was excited to play WoW. According to Wowhead, the Reddit user, literally a black bear, they were excited about rolling a troll shaman named Thex. The thread gained interest, and Wowhead has seen that 8.2.5 PTR has a character added near Orgrimmar's bank named Thex with the lines, "I be Thex, troll shaman. There be no others like me. Long ago, a mighty troll was born. They named him Thex. That be me. The real Thex be standing here, mon. At the end of the day, we all be Thex. Let's enjoy this moment together. I love when game devs troll us like this. Good one, Blizz. And Icy Veins reports on a cool new add-on that aims to help with selling items in Classic. I Am a Merchant is being developed by Reddit user NukiWolf2, and it will let players right-click on you to see what items you are selling. The sale will still be done via Whisper/Say and using the trade windows, but it's really cool to use this to view the item. They want feedback on it, so I have a link in the show notes to the Icy Veins post for it. As Icy Veins said, this will help with RPG communities too. I think we need more things like this. And the community is very helpful, and Yuramaro pointed to a spreadsheet in Google Docs that gives helpful advice on playing a mage in WoW Classic. So I talked with Blizzmates back in episode 106. They went on a hiatus for a while, and they just released a new episode, and they took the show to 11, literally and also figuratively. And they've added my great friend Ellie as a new permanent co-host. So this is so exciting for Ellie and the crew. I loved them in episode 10, and I had a great time talking with all of them on episode 106 when I had all three of them on here. So it's a great fit. The show isn't going to be weekly, but when it arrives, it will be awesome. There are quite a few shows like that, which I look forward to when they release. And Realm Maintenance is celebrating 7 years, and they have a very special interview with Patty Matson, the voice of Sylvanas. It's on episode 291. I listened to it, loved the conversational feel, great questions by Ro, and the answers by Patty were awesome. They were encouraging from a creative perspective. Sylvanas is one of my favorite characters, even if I joke about the character needing to die. Patty brings an amazing job to their voicing Sylvanas. So congratulations, Ro, for 7 years, and please, 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 continue the podcast. I love it. It's one of my favorite Blizzard podcasts. And Patty, keep being awesome. And finally, is your excitement for WoW Classic tuned up to level 60? Well, Elliot, who I met at my local Columbus, Ohio area podcasters meetup, is on a podcast called Walpole. Elliot, Brody, and Frankie talk about WoW Classic every week. Right now it's on Spotify only, but more platforms are coming. I've got a link to their Twitter, which also is a link to where you can find their show on Spotify, and they said it will soon be on more platforms. Elliot is scheduled to be on episode 136, which isn't that far away. I mean, I can't believe we are already at episode 120 for this show. Time flies. And speaking of flying time, it's almost the end of the show, so this has been another packed episode of FrazlCast. Thank you to Draven for being on the episode. As Kara said on Twitter, it was like Epic Fail Podcast episode 200. And speaking of Kara, they left an amazing review on Apple Podcasts. They said fun conversations. To sum up FrazlCast in one word, fun. Frazley is a great host. He finds fun people to interview. It's always interesting learning about the lives of other folks who play Blizzard games. It shows we're all so different, but still love the same things. Definitely worth your time to check it out. Thank you, Kara. I've got this on the website, and I thank you so much for the kind words and the encouragement. And this show is now on Deezer. It's a platform that's been around for a while. It owned Stitcher Radio for a while. I submitted all the episodes and has it just recording some of the early episodes with a lot of cringe, and 119 are the only episodes showing up there. I have faith that it'll all be there soon. Pandora now has all the episodes. It was missing some for a while. And every episode, I like to thank those who have given back to the show financially. Thank you to my Twitch subs out there. Erlina, Capo, Chris, Crunk, Michael, Razurus, Sal, Thorn, and Zorts. And thank you to Crunk for the bits this week. If you want to support this show financially, please go to support.gnomepodcast.com. All of the support, whether financially or otherwise, helps support this labor of love. Well, I am Frazley, and you can find the show at gnomepodcast.com. So until next week, be awesome. Oh, and congratulations to Michael and Selena, who are now engaged! I had to sneak that announcement in there. Welcome to the Frazley Report, a short broadcast by me, the Awesome Gnome, about the World of Warcraft. So players have stampeded over to Classic to reserve their 3 names. I'm going into Classic as a green-haired mage named Denzo on the Peggle server. Quite a few large podcast communities have announced where they're putting their roots. August 26th and 27th, depending on your region, can't come soon enough. I'm excited to see fans amped up for Classic. Heading back to current WoW, the final wing of LFR for the Eternal Palace opens this week, August 13th with Zayquil and Queen Ashara. Don't forget that the minimum eye level is 380. 8.2.5 is still in the PTR, and details keep coming out concerning news. The internet has been abuzz with talk about the B-mount. There's some very not-so-sweet news that has come, so apparently the Horde will not get this. According to Icy Veins, the Honeyback Harvester seems to be exclusive to the Alliance. And this week we'll see the first free t-shirt day on August 16th. From all reports, this will be added to your Transmog tab. And there'll be vendors that will be selling free t-shirts and even entertainers that are rumored to be launching out free secondhand t-shirts. My sources tell me that the officials were going to give away free t-shirts in the Crossroads in celebration of Classic coming soon, but 30 to 50 feral hogs have taken over the town. They are looking for a solution and are looking for anyone listening to help them out. And speaking of free things, Ice Range reports that an EU account got a free level 100 character boost on their inactive account. The description of the gift in their Battle.net app is Return to Azeroth to celebrate World of Warcraft's 15th anniversary with this free level 100 character boost. The gift expires October 30th, 2019. The account had been inactive since June 23rd, 2018. They said that their active US account got nothing. However, reports that according to Reddit, accounts that haven't played for 2 years are getting this. And do you remember those Alabaster mounts that are part of the now sold out 15th year anniversary collector's edition? The mounts are now available in the cash shop for $25 or the equivalent in your region. If you bought the physical collector's edition and redeemed the code from it, Blizzard will refund the digital cost of the mounts minus any sales tax. Well, time to venture out back into World of Warcraft, so I have been Frazley, and until next time, be awesome.
Hey FrazlCast listeners, Allie here. Do you enjoy Warcraft dungeons? Ever wonder what the stories are behind them? I've got you covered. Check out Dungeon Fables, a delicious bite-sized podcast about these stories. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, and SoundCloud. Take care.
Buxley may need an adapter. Buxley here to answer your World of Warcraft questions in this edition of Ask Buxley. This question is about ghost wolves. Maui asks, Buxley, adult shamans can travel in ghost wolf form and appear to be adult wolves. When shaman are children, do they appear as ghost puppies? We do not speak of this. What? There's a follow-up question. It's from Maui. It says, no, really, I'd like to know. How did he... That's the first time... oh well, I guess I can answer this, but Maui, you have to keep this a secret. Ghost Wolf, as you've noticed, is a form that all shamans can run around as, and yes, young shaman do appear as ghost puppies. But what most people don't know, it takes a while to get to that point. We have to work our way up to that. Oh, this is so embarrassing. Okay, I'll just get this out. The order from easiest to toughest for young shamans to do is ghost sheep, ghost snail, ghost frog, ghost pepper, ghost bird, ghost burrito, ghost frog, ghost spicy pickle, ghost cat, and then ghost puppy. And even the ghost puppies are usually just chihuahuas. Okay, then, with additional training, adults can progress to ghost sloth, ghost rider, ghost wombat, ghost tree, ghost buster, ghost lion, ghost tiger, ghost bear, oh my, and finally ghost wolf. Remember, this is just a secret between you and me. Thanks for your question. If you'd like to see what I'm up to every day, follow Ask Buxley on Twitter. You can listen to the archives at AskBuxley.com. Moo.
FrazlCast is a fan podcast that covers Blizzard games. We are not affiliated with Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. Views expressed by the hosts and guests are their own. Some of the art, music, and sound effects come from Blizzard games and are owned by Blizzard Entertainment, Inc. No copyright infringement is intended. The Gnome Train Intro is by Allie of Dungeon Fables and All Things Azeroth, and the opening music is by Brandon T. Blaylock.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.